Pratyanikeshu Yodha. Sri Bhagavan Vacha Kalo Asmi Loka Kshayakruta Pravruddho Lokan Samahrutam Iha Pravruttaha Rute Pitamna Bhavishanti Sarve Eva Sthitaha Pratyanikeshu Yodha. Sri Bhagavan Vacha, the personality of Godhead, said, Kalaha, time, Asmi, I am, Loka, the words, Kashakrut, destroyer, Pravardhaha, to engage, Lokan, all people, Samartram, to destroy, Iha, in this world, Pravrittihe, to engage, Rutepi, without even, Tvam, you, Na, never, Bhavishanti, will be, Sarve, all, Ye, who, Avasthitaha, situated, Pratyankeshu, on the opposite side, Yodha, the soldiers. The personality of Godhead said, time I am, the words, destroyer, to engage all people, to destroy in this world, to engage without even, you, never will be, all, who situated on the opposite side, the soldiers. Translation by Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. The blessed Lord said, time I am, destroyer of the words, and I have come to engage all people, with the exceptions of you, the Pandavas. All the soldiers here on both sides will be slain. Purport. Although Arjun knew that Krishna was his friend and the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he was nonetheless puzzled by the various forms exhibited by Krishna. Therefore, he asked further about the actual mission of the devastating force. It is written in the Vedas that the Supreme Truth destroys everything, even Brahma. Yasya Brahmecha Kshatram cha ubhe bhavata adanaha mrityur yash yopashichanam ka cha itha veda yatra saha. Eventually, all the Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, and everyone else are devoured by the Supreme. This form of Supreme Lord is an all-devouring giant, and here Krishna presents himself in that form of all-devouring time, except for a few Pandavas. Everyone who was present in that battlefield would be devoured by him. Arjuna was not in favor of the fight, and he thought it was better not to fight. Then there will be no frustration. In reply, the Lord is saying that everyone, even if he did not fight, every one of them would be destroyed, for that is his plan. If he stopped fighting, they would die in another way. So death cannot be checked, even if he did not fight. In fact, they were already dead. Time is a destruction, and all manifestations are to be vanquished by the desire of the Supreme Lord, and that is the law of nature. So here in purport, Srila Prabhupada emphasize on the time is destruction, and all manifestations are to be vanquished by the desire of Supreme Lord, and that is the law of nature. So we all are under the influence of time, and the time is inevitable controller of us all. it is said that the time, the Kal, is identical with the Lord himself. Everything in this material world is under the influence of time, and as a result, has a beginning and an end. So this is true for all living entities, including human beings, animals, plants, and even non-living objects. Ultimately, everything is perishable. So Srila Prabhupada has given one example of about flower. Flower initially is a bird. It grows and it blooms. After a few days, it withers and ultimately gets destroyed. Similarly, in this material world, all living and non-living entities continuously undergo change with time. So these changes are discernible over variable time duration. It could be days, month, year, decades, or millions, but ultimately everything is going to be destroyed. So I came one of the lecture of His Holiness Mahavishnu Goswami Maharaj. He had given one lecture on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 8, verse 43 in Dham, Rajkot. So it's very nicely Maharaj has explained about the time. Maharaj says the T means there, I means is, M means myself, and E is everywhere. So Maharaj says that there is myself everywhere. So God says that I am everywhere. So Maharaj also said that the mass of clouds that glide down due to the force of the wind, they think that themselves are moving up and down, but actually they are not. Similarly, everything is guided by the eternal time. Wasting time is like wasting Krishna. He is in front of us from time to time. The Kal is identical with the Lord himself, and therefore the influence of Kal indicates the inexplicable wish of the Lord himself. Maharaj says that what is inexplicable means in unexplainable. That is, also Maharaj given a very nice example about a person in coma. Everything is functioning. He's in the hospital, he's in the coma. Everything is functioning normally. But still, the movement of the body is absent and unexplainable. Same way, we suffer due to our karmas. Like given an example about the Pandavas. Pandavas were staying with Krishna. How could they suffer? But it was the desire of the time that they should suffer, and that cannot be explained why. Maharaj says that always the desire of the Lord is the supreme cause. When we don't understand, we don't try to find out the reason. We just say, Krishna desired it, and that's it. So every moment of our existence, Krishna is saving us from all our troubles. Otherwise, this body can never survive. And it is not meant to survive. Again, it is unexplainable. Such complicated body, why it is working since our birth, and why it stops, so we don't know. And nobody can know. As soon as one is neglected by Krishna, then anything can happen. Whether we are in this body or we are not, or not in Krishna, should not neglect us anytime. So that should be our count. And if he neglects us, then we have to catch him. But with this body, it is very difficult to catch, Maharaj says, because we always want rest, we always want to involve in material things, and then we sleep. So time goes away. Time goes away fast because time is Krishna. So these things can never be explained, but we have to accept it is his desire. That's it, nothing else. Also further, Maharaj says that everyone has to bear the actions and the reaction of time as long as one is within the condition of material world. So one should not disturb by the tricks of eternal time. So he said that whatever is happening is Krishna's desire. So don't lament. We must know that our service, our business, our seva, whatever is going to be or whatever is going on because of his desire. Otherwise, as soon as he neglects us, everything collides like a card's castle. So Arjuna, Arjuna Maharaj says that Arjun won against the Kauravas because the Krishna was present. But as soon as the Krishna left this planet, Arjuna was even defeated by a few cowherd men. So his strength completely vanished. We are able to do something is because of him, because of Krishna. How can we neglect him? Everything has to be insisted. Krishna says, Bahunam Janmanam Ante. So this is the knowledge. Come, what way be with Krishna in the material world, we are always prone to be attracted by illusory energy, Maya. But we have to stop this and come to Krishna. Krishna, the material world, everyone is fed up with the same things. Somehow or other, with the introduction of Krishna or our Krishna consciousness activities, this should be avoided. Till the end, there should be attraction towards Krishna. Otherwise, life itself becomes burden. So, without Krishna in this age, the life really becomes a burden. Krishna's strength never deteriorates. So, if we connect to Krishna, we deteriorate slowly with time. In this world, everything changes, even our body. We try to stop this deterioration with money and medicine, but it is not possible, and rather we make more worse. So the more what I guessed from this Maharaj's lecture, I didn't really read the complete, but I just took the few points and read. But what I understand from this verse and this Maharaj's lecture is that we should not we should not neglect Krishna, and always try to depend on Krishna and try catch to Krishna till end if Krishna wish. Hare Krishna, this is my realization.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you, Sopan Prabhu, for your nice realization. And thank you, His Grace Amrish Prabhu, His Grace Kun Pragya Devi Dasi Mataji, and His Grace Krishna Smarpan Krishna Prabhu for giving me this chance to share my realization and organizing these wonderful programs. And yeah, thank you very much, Prabhu. So this verse, I'll recite. Shri Bhagwan Vacha Kalo Asmi Lokakshapit Pravidho Lokan समाहृतुम् इह प्रवृत्तः रते अपि त्वां न भविष्यन्ति सर्वे ये अवस्थिताः प्रत्यनीकेषु योद्धः. Translation. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. The blessed Lord said, Time I am, destroyer of the worlds, and I have come to engage all people, with the exception of you, the Pandavas. All the soldiers here on both sides will be slain. Now there is a difference in the newer Bhagavad Gita. The translation in your version it says, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Time I am, the great destroyer of the world, and I have come here to destroy all people, with the exception of you, the Pandavas. all the soldiers here on both sides will be slain. So, yes, um, the first I realized that the difference, um, there is a difference between our two synonyms as well. The word pravardha in older version it says to engage, and newer version it says great. So I was looking the meaning. So in the Google it says it's great, but Srila Prabhupada translated it in the translation that I have come to engage all people. The Lord is saying. So which is more relevant when I meditated on it. The Lord is saying, "Time I am, destroyer of worlds." So when we see that by passing time, everything is deteriorating. Our bodies, material things, house, buildings, food, vegetables, everything is deteriorate by passing time. And how it is deteriorate? Because we are engaged in the activities of this material energy. We are working day in, day out for our senses and engaged in work without knowing that we are progressing toward death. So the word pravardha is to engage means Lord engage everyone, whether we are engaged in sense gratification activities or engaged in devotion service. No one can remain unengaged. The new translation says that I have come here to destroy all people. So how to destroy is to engage them, as Srila Prabhupada translated in older version. So this is very important point for me that how I am engaged. The Lord is engaging everyone, and if by the mercy of the Lord I am engaged in the devotional service and the service of Srila Prabhupada and Srila Gurudev, then it is right engagement. As Srila Prabhupada said in the purport that if Arjuna stopped fighting, they would die in another way. Death cannot be checked. Even if he did not fight, in fact, they were already dead. Time is destruction. So this is the next point that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu predicted that the holy name of the Lord will be preached in every town and village of the world. So it's going to happen, and it is happening, whether we take part in this or not. It is happening. The Lord has decided. So it is better for us to engage in the preaching in whatever capacity we have. So death is coming anyway. So there will be no loss. Yes, there are hurdles, but that's why we have association. And by the extreme causeless mercy of Srila Gurudev, we have Hare Krishna weekend. So we are engaged in services. So thank you, Prabhuji, giving us the opportunity and engaging us in the service of Srila Gurudev and Srila Prabhupada. The Lord said to Arjuna that everyone will die except Pandavas. So this means that if we are sincere devotees, then we do not need to worry about, and the Lord will take care of everything. I remember the example of Srila Prabhupada said once, and Prabhuji also shared it, that in Bengal there was a great famine and everyone was struggling, but devotees were okay, and by the grace of the Lord, they were protected. Of course, the difficulties are there in the maintenance, but the so-called struggle for existence is mitigated. I remember that in Shri Ishtopanishad, in Mantra 11, when we were reading, this point came, the struggle for existence. And Srila Prabhupada explained that the one-sided attempts to win the struggle for existence, that shouldn't be there. Because yes, we are all struggling in this world, but the struggle for existence is not all in all. And there is knowledge how to come out of this struggle in the revealed scripture and how to live blissful eternal life. which is by rendering loving devotional service to the Lord. And the, the aspect of time, that Lord is time. And Sopan Prabhu already shared Guru Maharaj lecture that how Maharaj explained. So yes, time is destruction. Time changes everything, is deteriorate everything because Krishna says he is time. So he changed everything. But the main point I realized here that if we are engaged in right way, in correct way, in the services, then we are protected, and we are will be saved from this struggle for existence. That's what I have realized. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you, His Grace Amrish Prabhuji, His Grace Pantaga Mataji, and His Grace Krishna Samarpan Krishna Prabhu for giving us opportunity to share our realizations on these Bhagavad Gita verses. And thank you, Sanjay Prabhu and Sopan Prabhu, for sharing your very nice realizations. So, Bhagavad Gita, chapter 11, verse 32. Shri Bhagavana Uvacha Kalosmi Loka Shayakrit Pravriddho Lokan Samaharsam Iha Pravrittaha Rite api tvam na bhavishanti sarve evasti evastitaha pratanikeshu yodhaha. Prabhupada ki jai. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Time I am destroyer of the worlds, and I have come to engage all people. With the exception of you, the Pandavas, all the soldiers here on both sides will be slain. So, yeah, there is a difference in translation, as Sanjeev Prabhu already explained. So, as Srila Prabhupada has rightly in the purport has mentioned that actually Arjuna, he was puzzled, in the previous verse as we studied, he asked two questions, to Krishna, who are you and what is his mission? So obviously, actually, as we know, that Arjun knew Krishna as a supreme personality of Godhead, and he was a dear friend. Still, he was actually quite puzzled by seeing various manifestations of the universal form. And as Amrish Prabhu said, that devotees are not used to seeing that actually ghastly form. So he did ask these questions, and also these questions are actually asked, on behalf of all the actually people in this material world. So we can actually give the answers. So here, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is speaking, and he's saying that time I am the great destroyer of the world. So this is a very famous verse. I also remembered actually. This was also mentioned by Oppenheimer, scientist, who developed the atom bomb, the Manhattan Project. And when that actually test was done, after the test, I think I remember Amrish Prabhu sharing that YouTube video where he actually mentioned this verse from Bhagavad Gita. That actually time, is a Vishnu, is a great destroyer of the world. So yeah, just I was meditating on this time factor, and as I can see, even in that actually that episode from that YouTube, I can understand why that verse may actually have come to his mind. Because as time, Krishna is actually destroying everything. And when I read this translation, there's a time I am the great destroyer of the world. Initially, the first impression is quite negative. We feel that why Krishna is destroying everything. But actually, as Srila Prabhupada says, that actually everything in this material world as well, is nothing but the mercy of the Krishna. So I was meditating on that point, on that angle as well, that how, as a time, is Krishna is being merciful, of all the living entities, and by destroying everything, how can he become unmerciful? So, as we already know, that actually the reason all the conditioned soul, including me, actually, we are actually born in this material world because at some stage we have actually revolted against Krishna. We wanted to enjoy like a Krishna, so we ended up in the material world, with all this material body and material senses, and we are actually trying to enjoy, but in fact, we are suffering quite a lot. We are always under illusion that we think that actually we will be actually fine, or we will actually get to the stage where we will become ultimately happy. But even we know that we will not be able to do so, we're still actually pursuing the same objective. So actually, means we as a living conditioned living entities, as per their desire, actually the body is given, by material nature. As Guru Maharaj also mentioned that for every desire we have, there is a next body is actually ready for us. So we always get, various forms of actually sharir, the body, material body, as per our desire or karma that we done in the past life, and we actually suffer accordingly. So I was thinking, as a time, as Krishna is saying, he destroys everything. And in every body that we get, there is actually timeline is set, a certain time is given to us that we have to spend in that body. So I was thinking that if Krishna is, as a time, if he's not actually destroying everything, then we may have stuck in maybe in some body, forever. We may go through the birth, old age, disease, and we're actually stuck in that body. We will suffer forever. There is no escape. But because as a time, Krishna is quite merciful to the even the conditioned souls. The death is actually given. So that is actually the freedom from that actually body. And again, you will get a next body, as per your karma. Or, ultimately, if you get to the human stage and if you perfect your life by becoming Krishna conscious, then you may even actually get out of this birth and death cycle. So we are actually always, revolving. As it says, Brahmand Brahmite Kona Bhagyavan Jiva. Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhakti Lada Bija. So I remember this verse, that actually all the living entities, they're always, they are actually moving around, from this planet to that planet, from one body to another body, with actually their unlimited desires, they wanted to satisfy themselves. We're always suffering. And one who actually come, with actually mercy of Krishna and the Guru, if you come in contact with the spiritual master, then with their mercy, I think we can able to actually begin our journey to become a Krishna conscious, and that is very fortunate. So we have, actually somehow come in contact with actually, Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev, Hare Krishna WECAN. So we have at least actually, made actually the beginning. So it's very important that actually this opportunity, may not again come for very, very, very long time, many, many births. So we have to be very serious, about our devotional service, and we have to serious about the time as well. Because as time, as in everybody say, time is money. But if you really meditate, actually, time is more valuable than money. Because now, even actually, we are very busy earning money, maintaining family, but still we always struggle to actually get a time. We always complain about the actually, short of time. Srila Prabhupada also said, is that no time is a chronic disease of a common man. and it's very, very true. When we actually look at our at my when I look at my life, actually, it's very true that actually we are always, I always have this complaint that I always run out of time. But if you actually sincere, actually, at least for the devotional service, so always I wonder, even actually we complain, but we still, if you have the desire, we always get a time to chant, we always get a time to do the puja and also do our services. We struggle, means I struggle, but still we able to find a time, and that is nothing but the mercy, that is actually we're receiving through our Guru Shish Parampara and Krishna. So there is always a time for devotional service, if you have the desire for it. So more we desire, we will get more time. That is what I realize. And wasting time, as we say, wasting time is the greatest crime. So even actually this point was discussed when we actually learn the nectar of instruction. Atyahara prayashasya prajalpo niyamagra. So that prajal point, actually, I still remember that was very much discussed. Where Amrish Prabhu actually explained, do not actually do not do this thing of actually time pass, like, because I also remember that actually when we were young, in the school and colleges, we always has this thing of actually time pass things. We used to do many activities just to pass the time. But now I understand the actually value of a time, because even we need it very much, we do not get time, enough time for doing many important things. So we should not waste time. It's the greatest crime. So we have to, actually engage because it's very, very valuable. That we have to engage our time in devotional service. So I also remember now, actually, even in our programs, we say that we do not want your money. All we want is your time. We have to give our time because that is the most valuable thing, and time is Krishna. So one who's sincere, they will always get a time because it's the mercy of a Krishna. But if you're not sincere, we'll always run out of a time. So I realize this point, I'm meditating on this verse, that actually, yes, time, as Krishna says, that I'm the destroyer of the world, time destroys everything. But that is also, in one way, is a mercy for all the conditioned living entities. That actually Krishna, as a Paramatma sitting in their heart, they're always guiding, everyone, even devotees, non-devotees, as per desire, he's actually giving them different bodies. But at the same time, in his big picture, he's always leading them towards the actually spiritual world. With every body or every birth, we're actually progress ourselves to the human stage. And when we get to the human body, then it's a very responsible life. So as Srila Prabhupada says that in a human form of life, we should always inquire about the absolute truth, aham brahmasmi, and that is the real purpose of a human life. So we have actually achieved this human form, and we have also got the opportunity to come in contact with the pure devotees, Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev. So we have to make the most of it, and that is actually what I realized, because if you do not take this seriously, then definitely we will see Krishna as a death at the end. But if you become sincere and actually engage more and more time in a devotional service, then as we have seen, actually that Amrish Prabhu explained how Maharaja left his body. There was no fear about death. Everything was total in control, and it was exactly as described in the scriptures. We discussed that point in quite detail many times. So that's how the actually pure devotee leaves his body. He see Krishna at the end. But the non-devotees, they will actually see Krishna as a death, and probably, the Brahma, actually, the Yamdutas will actually come to receive them. So that's why actually we have to become very, very serious, and try to actually engage this time that is given to us in as much as possible in the service of the Krishna. So we can actually remember Krishna at the end. So that is actually the ultimate objective. So that is what I realized meditating on this verse. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you very much for a wonderful realization. Very nectarian. So we are doing Bhagavad Gita chapter 11, verse 32. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Kalosmi Lokakshayakrit Pravrito Lokan Samartum Iha Pravritah Jite api tvam na bhavishanti sarve ye vishtitha prayanike suyudha. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The blessed Lord said, "Time I am destroyer of the worlds, and I have come to engage all people. With the exception of you, the Pandavas, all the soldiers here on both sides will be slain." So there's a few points that come to my mind when I read this translation and the purport as well. That in this material world, before coming into Krishna consciousness, the first thing that I really can relate to was the frustration of time, chasing time always, whether you're a student or you're doing anything in your life. And when I first came into contact with Srila Prabhupada and tried to read Srila Prabhupada's books and read that, ultimately Krishna is, time is also Krishna. So that then gave a different perspective. And then the frustration goes away, and then to value it. So I think in the material world, everything is running around the time factor, really. And there is always not enough time to fulfill all your activities. So the second point I wanted to bring about was that here Krishna is saying that everyone else will be destroyed except the Pandavas. And I was thinking, this is such a beautiful position to be in. We want to be like the Pandavas, the followers of Pandavas. What is it that they did that Krishna is saying that everyone else will be slain, but you will not be? And Krishna is on their side and is constantly thinking about them. And we want to be in that position, that our activities are such, our devotional service is such that it gets noticed by Krishna. Here also in the purport, Srila Prabhupada is saying that whether Arjun, because Arjun didn't want to fight, so whether Arjun would have fought or not would have fought, the destruction was going to happen anyway. So Krishna's plan, this is the golden word, this is the state of consciousness that you want to achieve, because we have innumerable plans, and man proposes and God disposes, and we have innumerable plans, but are they actually fitting with Krishna's plan? That is the question. Everything is in alignment. So why was Krishna in favor of the Pandavas? And all this comes to, from my realization, comes to this point that there is Krishna's plan, there's Krishna's vision, and we have to align that our plan with Krishna's plan, and then it doesn't become our plan anymore. We have to actually literally understand what is Krishna's plan and try to follow it in our lives. But how do we understand what is Krishna's plan? Because we have so many things that we want to do, even in the mere spiritual sphere or activities. We want to do so many devotional things, activities, services. And when we are trying to do so many things, sometimes things go very favorably, and sometimes things don't go very favorably. So then I remember dear Srila Gurudev, His Holiness Mahavishnu Goswami Maharaj used to always say, we will meet Krishna willing. And I found that very interesting when I heard that Krishna willing. So everything that Maharaj did, we could see how Maharaj conducted his own life, and everything was as per the Lord's plan and in alignment with the Lord's plan. And that's why everything was so smooth and nice and very fulfilling as well. So when we are doing our activities, and sometimes it might seem that it's not as per, it's not, I don't know exactly what word to use. It's not favorable, but it's not as how we want it to be. And that might bring frustration, or it might bring disappointment. And that's the catch, or that's the time, or that's the test to change our consciousness. And this, I'm not saying I've achieved at all. I'm just trying to achieve this. This is one single goal, to try to understand that whatever's happening is happening because of Krishna's plan. Because we say that not a single leaf can move without Krishna's wish. So then everything that is happening to us, whether good or bad, or favorable or unfavorable, is because it has to align with Krishna's plan. So we have to tolerate, like the waves, up and down. Tolerance is the most important factor. And then time is also a very important factor, because time helps you to navigate through that period of time, or phase of time, or phase of life, and then you can move forward. So in this way, I think it's very, very hard, because we are living in the material world. We're affected by all these Adi Daivik, Adi Bhautik, and then also Adhyatmic miseries. And we are all trying to navigate our way through these difficulties. And at sometimes you try to tell yourself, and you try to see what is Krishna's plan in this. So if you pray very sincerely, then sometimes Krishna does reveal what the plan is and why, we are going through different phases in our life. And sometimes it gets revealed over a period of time as well. So Srila Prabhupada always said that, that don't be discouraged, you should always just be very enthusiastic about your devotional service, and be very sincere, and try to just do your devotional service. And one day you will achieve that perfection of life, a love of Godhead. So pray very sincerely to all the Vaishnavas here and present. that somehow or the other I would be able to understand what is Krishna's plan for me in this lifetime, and be able to tolerate the waves, the ups and downs, and be able to navigate, keeping my focus on my ultimate goal. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna devotees. And thank you, Amrish Prabhu. Thank you, Purna Pagna Devi Dasi Mataji and Krishna Prabhu, Krishna Sambarma Krishna Prabhu, for giving me this opportunity. And thank you, devotees, for really giving very nectarian realizations. As Amrish Prabhu said in the beginning, that now we have got a purport so we can speak. And now there is a favorite topic which all people relate very nicely, the time factor. It affects our material and spiritual life. So Amrish Prabhu was very clear that this time we are going to speak. We will not struggle to speak. So you all have very nicely covered the importance of time. I'll just quickly go through my realizations and some points which I've highlighted. Sri Bhagwan Uvacha Kalo Asmi Lokakshaya Krit Pravardo Lokan Sammahartumi Pravirtihi Rite Api Tvam Na Bhavishyanti Sarve Ye Avasthita Pratyanikeshu Yodha. Translation. Oh, the blessed Lord said, time I am, destroyers of the worlds, and I have come to engage all people. With the exception of you, the Pandavas, all the soldiers here are both sides will be slain. I'll focus more on the purport. But as Sridhar Prabhu highlighted and probably answered the question that how do you explain that Krishna as a supreme personality of Godhead is the time who's destroying everything? How can God be destroyer? So that's a question never answered by any materialistic person, but Sridhar Prabhu very nicely covered that point. And also Sopan Prabhu, actually what Maharaj has to say on this, that's also very nectarian. So in the purport, Prabhupada writes that although Arjuna knew that Krishna was his friend and the supreme personality of God, he was nonetheless puzzled by the various forms. So even Arjuna was puzzled, so we are also puzzled. And we just don't know where to go. We try to depend on Krishna. We do what we feel right. I'm talking about myself, and follow our own ego. And then then further Prabhupada writes that Arjuna actually asked about the mission. Therefore, he asked further about actual mission of devastating force. Why Krishna was doing it. So it is written in the Vedas where supreme truth destroys everything. So how can supreme truth be destroyed? That's a thought. That's a thought that to be meditated upon. That's how truth can be destroyed, because it's so hard to be truthful in this material world. I've heard this from many of my people that how can someone be truthful? And most of the time, truthful people are losers in material world or materialistic eyes. That's why they don't want to be truthful. But Prabhupada writes here that everything destroyed by supreme truth. So that's what's very interesting. Then this Prabhupada further writes, and which Mataji also covered, that except for a few Pandavas, everyone who was present in the battlefield would be devoured by him. That was a plan. That was already pre-decided. Then the Prabhupada writes that even Brahma will be destroyed, yeah, in this material world. And then what about Brahmanas and Kshatriyas? So, but very interesting, the one character which probably will come in the next verse also, Bhishma, who was one of the Mahajans, who always lived in adverse conditions. He was a pure devotee of God, but he was in the opposite party, and he was a devotee. When he left body, Krishna was present there. And so again, this knowledge, I was talking to someone else, that this knowledge of Krishna consciousness cannot be understood. For somebody, it can only be realized, because there are contradictions everywhere. Unless somebody has realized, they cannot understand. So this knowledge can only be realized, because that situation where Bhishmadev was in a situation and he was also destroyed. Yeah, that's what we understand from this verse. But that he was a Mahajan. So that other thing which came to my mind. And in the final line that Krishna Prabhupada writes, time is destruction, and all manifestations are to vanquished by the desire of Supreme Lord. So time is actually destruction. This is the 26th element of the field of activity. When everything come along, when time also come into fiction, after that, super soul. So time is none other than Krishna, and it is 26th element, and it is actually for destruction. And that's why time doesn't exist in spiritual world. I've heard Amrish Prabhu saying this, that we are separated. I'm not talking about myself. I'm talking about Amrish Prabhu, that they are separated with Maharaj, because only a time element is there, only time factor is there. So that's why the time, Prabhupada writes, time is destruction. It's not a good thing. That's why you're not able to hold time, and that's what I think. And then Prabhupada further writes, that is the law of the nature. That's what we have been discussing. That's why we are able to relate to this topic. We all experience this effect of time. So the other thing before I close my realization, that it's so easy to understand this knowledge. What I felt is that we all understand this knowledge. Knowledge is easy. Realization is hard. And practicing those realization is even harder. And that's where devotees struggle. And that's where all those sufferings which come across, and we are doing something which nobody wants or nobody want to do it. So that's the biggest challenge devotee faces, and that's why the association of devotees is very important, and that's why the guidance of a pure devotee like Prabhupada and Maharaj is very important, so that somehow we can be engaged, because Krishna writes here, I have come to engage all people. So we have a choice to make how we want to be engaged. So that's my relation. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you, Amrish Prabhuji and Pragya Devi, Dasi Mataji, and Krishna Samarpan Krishna Prabhuji for giving this opportunity to us to share our realizations. And all the devotees who have very nicely covered most of the points here. So thank you very much to everyone for giving their valuable association today. So we are on Bhagavad Gita, chapter 11, verse number 32. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Kalo Asmi Lok Kshayakrit Pravraddho Lokan Samahartum Iha Pravrattah Rate Api Tvam Na Bhavishyanti Sarve Ye Avasthitah Pratiyanikeshu Yodha. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Time I am, the great destroyer of the worlds, and I have come here to destroy all people. With the exception of you, the Pandavas, all the soldiers here on both sides will be slain. As already we have discussed about the time factor, which is the greatest destroyer, and it doesn't leave anyone in this material world at all. So as Krishna is answering Arjuna's questions here, because in the previous verse Arjuna asked him that who you are and what is your mission, and then Krishna is just saying in here that his time and great, he has come to destroy all the people, whosoever is present in the battlefield here. So time, as we all know, we have very limited time in our lives, and it's up to us how we can make best use of it, whether we are just spending it or we are just valuing the time and we are using best in Krishna consciousness. So when we use our time in Krishna consciousness, it's the only best use of it. As in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, chapter 3, verse 17, it says that both by rising and by setting, the sun decreases the duration of life of everyone, except one who utilizes the time by discussing topics of the all-good personality of Godhead. And we have fortunately got this platform where we every week we share our realizations, we get good association of the devotees, and that gives us impetus that we have to be very sincerely, we have to follow this path so that we don't waste our time in useless talks here and there. Also, I remember the verse from chapter 2, verse number 40. So in that it says that the verse is Neha vikramnasho asti pratyavayo na vidyate swalpamapsya adharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. In this endeavor, there is no loss or diminution, and a little advancement on this path can protect one from the most dangerous type of the fear. And we know that fear a devotee always has is that we don't want to glide down to the lowest species, because once we are gone there, then it's very, very difficult to come up again to a human form, to get a human form and then again start our life from there. But there is a hope that if we have started our journey of Krishna consciousness, even if we are not able to do much, but little bit starting there, so that account is opened and that will be always be there. And even if we are not able to perfect our life in this, perfect our devotional service in this life, we can in the next life at least we will get the human body, and then from there we can we can carry on again. So that is one of the one of the main thing we have got. when we started our journey in Krishna consciousness. So that hope is a big thing for me. I'm not able to do perfect bhakti at all, but there is a hope that even if I'm stumbling here and there, but I can just carry on my bhakti, and then one day there will be perfection of life as well. So that is my realization for this verse. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you, Prabhuji, for this beautiful opportunity to share our realizations, and thank you all the devotees for your very nice realization. Sri Bhagavanu Vacha Kalo Ashmi Lokashya Kriti Pravridho Lokan Samahatam Iha Pravrataha Rate api tvam na bhavishyanti sarve Ye
No, this is a different tune, Mother.
vasthitaha.
Hare Bol, Mother. It's Vacha Begum's tune.
Okay, Prabhuji, I actually learned that. Shri Bhagavanu Vacha Kalosmi Lokasya Krit Praritho Lokan Samahtam Iha Pravartaha Rati api tvam na bhavishyanti sarve Ye vashithata Pratyanikeshu Yodha. Sorry, Prabhuji, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Time, I am the great destroyer of the worlds, and I have come here to destroy all people, with the exception of you, the Pandavas. All the soldiers here on both sides will be slain. Realize from this Prabhuji that Sri Krishna, as we all know, that Sri Krishna advised and instructed Arjuna to fight, even though he did not want to fight with his cousins. But how Sri Krishna convinced Arjuna that you are not killing them, although they are already died. So it represents that how Sri Krishna is the controller of the universe, and only follower of Krishna will be survived, and Krishna have this power of destruction, and it shows that Krishna has a plan beyond our thinking, as Arjuna did not have clue initially, but then he understood Krishna's plan slowly. So why Krishna was taken the side of Pandavas? Because they asked for Krishna's favor, although the Kauravas wanted the army, but then whoever will have Krishna's mercy can't be killed. And it doesn't matter, the other side, the Kauravas has a lot of army, but still they was eventually fall in destruction. So I realized that this is our way of, to gaining, like in our prayers, to gain the mercy of Krishna, so that we just try to get close to Krishna. We don't ask for the material enjoyments, and we just try to focus on our own love for Krishna, as Arjuna, like as in the form of a friend, he just get instructed, and Krishna was able to show him everything, that he's the universal form of. So that's what I realized, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Sorry, I was
I'm not able to share my realization as such. I have read the verse, but I was unable to prepare, and I was so late that so I was not able to do the message as well. Hare Krishna. Sorry.
Okay, Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you very much for your wonderful realizations. It's very nice and very nectarian. And a lot of devotees have to say a lot of things, about time, which is wonderful. We appreciate time so much, So that's very nice. It's very nice. I'll just like to put some pointers. All of you have in detail spoken, If my voice is not clear, just let me know. So blessed Lord said, time I am destroyer of the worlds, and I've come to engage all people. With the exception of you, the Pandavas, all the soldiers on both sides will be slain. So from here we understand that time is affecting different people differently. So the first thing we should understand this. And the biggest mistake we make is that time affects us in a particular way, so we think others are affected in the same way. See, this is the point. This is what we have to understand from this verse. I remember when Maharaj had come to Auckland, he was staying in this devotee's home. Maharaj was staying in his devotee's home in New Lane, Maharaj would stay there towards the end, At that time, big issues had happened among disciples. So I was with Maharaj that day, that evening, that afternoon, I don't remember, morning, afternoon. Yeah, I was staying there only the whole time. So at that time, Maharaj gave me some instructions, and I wrote down those instructions. I was to carry a notebook with me, in a big notebook. I still have it with me. Krishna willing, Brahmasya Guru Maharaj. In that, Maharaj said one point instruction, that do not waste devotees' time. And I remember that point. I never understood that point. I thought the devotees are important. That's why I understood this. The devotees are important, so do not waste devotees' time. Actually, time affects different people differently. For devotees, time is not an enemy, time is a friend. If we do not have the appreciation of time as a friend, then we are always fighting with time. We try to conquer time. I'll give an example of this. Many times we devotees, when we speak about Srila Prabhupada, we feel that when Prabhupada are talking to some devotees, Prabhupada speaks as if he has got all the time in the world talking to the devotee. We must understand this, that time Prabhupada, in 11 years, Prabhupada traveled around the world 11 times. We're setting up a worldwide organization. How can he have time? He was never rushed. Prabhupada was never rushed. Never late. Because time is a friend of a devotee. And that is the point. In the spiritual world, time is a friend of people, devotees living there. In the material world, time is an enemy of people who consider time as their enemy. The time is nobody's enemy, it's neutral. He is Krishna. That's why he says, time I am. He says this. Time I am. Kalo asmi. And how can Krishna be anybody's enemy? Tell me. But for a devotee, Krishna is a friend, he says. I'm equal to everybody. For one who is a friend in me, I'm also a friend to him. So time is equal to everybody. And to a devotee is a friend. That's why I said time affects differently to different people. And time is a friend, actually. Because Krishna is a friend. Supreme Absolute Truth cannot be unfriend to anybody. So when Maharaj said this, that do not waste devotees' time, is one of those instructions which I never understood and I'm understanding slowly, is that do not waste devotees' time, full stop. We have got struggle with time because we are weak in our devotional service. I'm not talking about being late, being things, all those things, that's fine. But I'm talking about having to struggle with Krishna. We have a choice. It's a very important thing. Kalos. So whenever we deal with devotees, talk to devotees, do not bring them to our level, And when we say that, how is it that time is a friend of a devotee? If you extrapolate this thought, then actually it is like this. Time being representation of Krishna, a devotee takes shelter of time. He never tries to conquer the time. And with time, a devotee also matures in his bhakti. And when a devotee matures in his bhakti, he can utilize the time properly for its use. Maharaj Shri Gurudev, this is one of the very favorite topics of Maharaj. How to speak about time, what experience, nectar instructions come, from Maharaj's classes. Maharaj has seen the whole world. Different countries Maharaj had lived in. And according to time, Maharaj moved and changed. And that is the reason why in any situation, Srila Gurudev was satisfied. That's why Maharaj instructed me, whoever comes to you, Ambrish, somehow or other make them satisfied. And for that I have to be satisfied, which I am not. I'm struggling with it. When Maharaj was departing, I was remembering that point which Avinash also mentioned. I remember in Panvel, few days before Maharaj's departure, it was about a couple of weeks before Maharaj's departure. Maharaj called us in the early morning. Let's go to Panvel. I got a call. You're all leaving for Panvel. Come now. 6 o'clock or something in the morning. We rushed to Panvel. And Maharaj gave finality at that time, telling what's going to happen. And it was very simple for Maharaj. Say, I'm leaving. We know. Goodbye. Hare Krishna. Not that way, but by speaking. I've given everything. Said that Maharaj said that we'll meet again. This time separates us. Of the audience there. And I was amazed. How is this? One who has conquered death can speak like this and give so much confidence to those who are behind. And it's true because nobody has been left behind by Guru Maharaj. When we say that time is a friend of devotee. What does it mean? Devotee understands the nature of time. What has happened today, as Guru Maharaj would say, today is a reality, tomorrow it is going to become a dream. These discussions we are having today, the very next moment discussion is over, it becomes a dream. It will be etched in our memory. And we as human beings are trying to capture that memory. What we hear, right now we cannot see each other, but we can hear each other. The same thing is recorded now. So in the future, hopefully, anyone who is interested will hear this discussion about time, this verse. And how we have captured it today, discussing time, what I'm going to say is whatever time has captured our discussion today will be heard in the future, as Krishna wants. That is why in the spiritual world, time doesn't influence you, because everything is for Krishna. So you can be in that particular lila, pastime of serving Krishna, as much as you want to. It won't affect you. It's very difficult to understand it because we are conditioned with timing all the time. Right now the time is going up, catching up. We have to do this, we have to do that. Tomorrow again we have to reach on time to the office, meetings, this, that, business, so many things. But however, this time that we have got, if we are able to surrender to time, appreciate the importance of time, understand time is our friend, and we can make the most of it in our bhakti, in our devotional service, then every activity that we are doing becomes devotional service, including being anxious about time. Appreciation of time is very important. In a friendship, one has to appreciate other person. What a person does, the person gives. So in a friendship with Krishna, we should appreciate it. Krishna is time, let's appreciate the time. Not fight with it, to conquer it, surrender to it. Surrender to time. Follow. And he says, I discriminate between friends and enemies. I mean, annihilating everybody except these people. You Pandavas, everybody is going to die. You kill or not kill, it means they are dead. Similarly, now I would like to just give some pointers, of what my realizations are. One more point I wanted to give is that when we are able to sit and discuss Bhagavad Gita, or Bhagavatam, or chanting, or programs are continuing, without any difficulty, without any disturbance, if they are happening, that means somebody somewhere has been very, very diligently working hard for our bhakti. So somehow we all can continue with our bhakti without disturbance. Most of the time we don't appreciate this. You think, yeah, it's here, we met, which is very good, we waste our time, then it's gone. But the real appreciation, and that is the chanting of Guru Maharaj. The Maharaj chanting for us, we are able to sit quietly, come together, have a discussion, have our realizations, learn from each other, appreciate devotees' time, and learn from it, hopefully, and move on. So time actually parts us, yes, but not for devotees. Because devotees are living in the spiritual world. Even living in the material world with material body, the presence of a devotee is existing. Just like it is said that the Guru is present in this Vani. What do we understand by this? Vani meaning what? It's a memory, as I discussed. what we have it on YouTube is a memory. If people can hear, you can capture that. And those instructions are enough for the devotee to follow and instruct others and make them follow. And instruct others and make them follow. That is how the instructions are alive. And they are jwalanta. Alive, jivit, and jwalanta. Jwalanta means they are vibrating like fire. And this fire increases when you distribute it to more and more people. That's why it's called jwalanta. So I could speak a bit more on this subject, but appreciating the time factor, and as all of us are so busy with so many things, I want to conclude here on this. So thank you very much. Srila Gurudev ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Krishna Gaur Chandra Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Bhagavad Gita Ajaris ki jai, Granthasma Bhagavatam ki jai. Hare Krishna. Now before we go, anyone wants to say anything? Please feel free to say or share. Hare Krishna. Okay then. So Krishna willing, we'll keep next week. Hare Krishna. Srila Gurudev ki jai. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Jai Gaur Chandra.
Yeah.
Hari
Hare
Bol.
Hare.
Hare Hare Bol. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you.